Hello, welcome back to the podcast, How to Play the Game of College, y'all, where we talk to real folks about real things about college. And y'all, we are in season 3, part 2. And y'all, I'm so excited about the theme of this season, keeping it real about college. Y'all, today, I'm so excited about the guest that we have, Andrea Fenise. How you doing today, Andrea?
I am doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I am good. Thank you so much. I know you're super busy for taking time out to be on the podcast. So, with that being said, guess what? We're going to jump right into it. For those who might not know Andrea, can you give us an elevator, high level? Because I know you got so many different things going on. Just kind of tell us who you are and for folks who may not have ever heard of you.
So, high level, I would say I am a multidisciplinary creative. I am a mom.
Mhm.
Encompasses high level what all I do, and then I guess we can
Yeah.
there's a what multidisciplinary creative looks like for me on a day to day.
Got you. Got you. Thanks so much for sharing that. And y'all, I'm not going to act like I don't know you because guess what? We went to college together, Middle Tennessee State, go Raiders. So I know a big part of your story, but there's so much that I don't know. So I want you to definitely feel free to share that today. But one thing I know, I want to go back, I guess, to MTSU. And I know that's when we met. When we talk about in the book, college choice, right? And college fit. There's so many different options out there for students now from, MTSUs, you got HBCUs, you got community colleges, you got technical. I don't know that. How did you end up selecting Middle Tennessee State back in the day?
Right, so that I mean, it's a funny story. I did not select MTSU at all. It was our choice, and actually, I applied maybe 2 weeks before college started.
Okay.
So, I always wanted to go to an HBCU. My first choice was Norfolk State and Bethune-Cookman, and
Yeah.
then Texas Southern. So,
Okay.
my mom and my uncle, we flew. My dad had to work. We flew to Texas Southern for a tour, a visit, financial aid, and my mom realized that they could not afford out-of-state tuition
Hmm.
at Southern, and so I came back home and I was like, University of Memphis is out of the question. I did not wanna stay in Memphis for college,
Okay.
and so I chose to go to MTSU because my best friend was going there. So that's how I ended up at MTSU very last minute,
Okay. I did not
but
know that.
I couldn't go to Texas Southern.
Got you. Got you. And I love how you're talking about, in that chapter, we do talk about things to consider, such as, the cost of college, out of state. If you're talking to a first generation college student, those things are foreign, right? I didn't first gen.
Mhm.
Okay, okay, yeah. So, and that's huge, when we talk, any student, is so many different things that come along with college. But it seems like you landed at the right place because I feel like at MTSU, you took off super involved, sorority, different leadership positions. Can you talk about, I guess, a big question we get with high school students? They do ask a lot about Greek life, right? And why they should maybe even consider it. Can you maybe give us maybe one or two things of maybe why they should and maybe things to maybe even look out for when you're trying to weigh your options?
Yeah, I think joining a sorority was the biggest, most impactful, and best choice I made in my college life, in
Okay.
my life in general. I've always admired women, right? Like looking towards other women for inspiration and motivation. And I did not know a lot of women that were in sororities. My
Okay.
just who I was surrounded by when I was younger, there were not a lot of women that were in a sorority rather. And
Right.
so, but I've always studied Black Greek organizations and their impact that they make in the community and in America in general, especially Black America. And so, like most people who are first generation, I did weigh my options, but I only looked at 2 sororities, I'll be and so I looked at both and I loved the fact that Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated was the first, sorority in that despite all of the challenges that Black Americans were having,
Yeah.
young Black women started a sorority to advance Black women's lives on college campuses. I just loved everything about AA. And this is no discredit to
Yeah.
Data
Right.
because I mean, just the fact that we were Black women on college campuses, but
Yeah.
felt like the women that were on the young ladies that were on the campus at MCSU when I
Yeah.
was there
Uh-huh.
totally aligned with Alpha Kappa Alpha. They had the highest GPA on the yard. They were very involved. They were
Okay.
academics, intellectuals, beautiful,
Mhm.
social. And it was the best choice for me.
That's good. And I love how you called out, like you said, you have to do what's best for you. And I love how you start out by saying, hey, I was a first gen. I didn't know a lot of ladies that were in sorority. So the key thing that I've heard was do your research, do your research, ask questions. But more importantly, it seems like you saw the values in yourself that align with that sorority. And so I always tell young men the same thing. I'm like, there's many different things that we all do and do them well, but I think it goes back to yourself. Like, what do you feel like you align best with? So I'm glad that you called that out. Yes. Thank you so much for that. So I guess as we continue down, I guess just the college experience, right? Your major. What was your major, Andrea?
Biochemistry.
Wow. Okay. I think I remember that. Yes, I remember that. So tell us, that's another chapter in the book, Andrea. And I know you got the book. We talk about how to select your major. Many times we got students, again, I keep talking about first gen that you're confused, 17, 18, and you want me to pick a major. You want me to actually decide on something I need to do for the rest of my life when I'm 18, right? How did you come up with that major or how did you select it at MTSU?
So I was a pre-pharmacy student. So of course I had to choose a science practice. So
Okay.
I chose biochemistry.
Okay.
I chose pre-pharmacy because a little bit about me. I was born to teenage parents, and my mom grew up lower working class. My dad was from a middle class family, but they were both teenage parents with their
Yeah.
odd challenges.
Okay.
And I was the firstborn, and my parents were the type of parents that pushed academics and excellence and, no B's,
Yeah.
type of for me.
Mhm. Right.
For my brother. But for me. And so I started work my first job was actually at Walgreens. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so all I was surrounded by were pharmacists. I excelled really well in science and math, and so I wanted to go to pharmacy school. So that's
Right.
why I chose biochemistry because it was one of the sciences for to go on the path of pre-pharmacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. Got you. And that's a good one. I love how you even said, you worked at Walgreens and it kind of you were around, pharmacists the whole time. So, we talk about to students how important it is to, maybe intern or, if folks at your job ask the questions like, how did you become this? Like, what was their route? What was their path for you? And it's kind of like breaking the hidden agenda. Because if you don't know, you don't know, right? Yeah.
But I will say, because this is important for where we're gonna lead into,
Yeah. Yeah.
while I was in college, yes, I was on a pre-pharmacy path, but I had dreams of going creative. So I
Man.
remember talking to the textile designer in the fashion merchandising department about working in the science of textile design because
Okay.
I really wanted to go the fashion route.
Wow. Okay.
And my dad was like, "Nope, you want to be a pharmacist." You know, but I
Yeah, yeah.
always had dreams of doing something creative, and I was gonna use my organic chemistry science background to design textile fabric.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So I wish I could more time to really
Yeah.
think about that.
So true, so true. And it's like a common theme, Andrea. I just had a guest on he's a male, but he mentioned something similar. He was going to want to be a doctor, medical school. He now works in higher ed, but he had this light bulb moment that his junior year of college, it was like, I'm kind of only doing this because my mom wanted me to become a doctor. It's not really what I wanted to do. So I'm hearing it with you as well. I think that's huge for students. Can you talk more about that? Like, so you got into pharmacy school, right?
Yep, I
Tell
moved
us about that. Yeah, and when did the change occur?
So when I graduated from MT, I had to wait a year because I was on the wait list the first time I applied because it was a huge pool of
Okay, okay,
highly competitive.
okay.
So I got put on the wait list and I went to grad school and I studied neurology while I was waiting to get accepted. Got accepted and came back to Memphis, did 3 years of pharmacy school. And this crazy now that I look back, I quit. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore because in hindsight, I wish I would not have quit. I want to say that on the record. But while I was in pharmacy school, I was also working full time at Walgreens still because going back to teenage parents, not having financial cushion, so I had to take on a full-time workload while I was also pharmacy school full-time.
All right. Right.
Right, me, it was hard, which is why I parent different, but I also took the time to ask the pharmacist while I was in pharmacy school and working, were they satisfied with their career? Most of them said no.
Wow.
So, they were working 12-hour shifts, same thing every day, count my seeing patients and 12 it was very taxing, and I was like, "Do I wanna live the rest of my life like that?" No, so I just quit and I didn't go back the next year.
Wow, wow. It takes courage, right? I think so many times when we're going down a path, right? And I always say you always have two paths, the path most traveled, right? And a path less traveled. Often I feel like both of us, because I know you, we always go down the path less traveled, right? Which there could be a lot of different obstacles. It's dark, it's wet, it's whatever. And so I guess, what would be, I guess that what I'm hearing from that is like you just took that chance to say, hey, this is not what I want to do, even though I had, you know, pretty much did an undergraduate degree in this. You said 3 years of pharmacy school, 3 years of pharmacy school. So you have maybe what, one or two left?
One more
One
thing.
left. Okay, one left. And you like, look, I ain't gonna waste any more time. I'm going to do this and then pursue what I wanted to pursue. Courage. What advice would you give to a young lady who might be listening to this interview that may be in college thinking the same thing? Like, I really don't want to do this, but I'm doing it because my mom want me to do it. What would you say to her?
I would say follow your intuition.
Okay.
See, have the courage to be bold and brave and put your stake in the ground on what you want to do.
Mm,
You only get one life, and it is try test drive. And as you become an adult post college,
yeah.
the rest of your life will be spent working.
Mm, mm, mm-hmm.
So make sure you're doing something. You're not gonna always love what you do.
Yeah.
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 Make sure at least you can be satisfied and find the joy in what you do. And so I would say have the courage to first be patient and wait to declare your major, right?
True. Yes.
I think you should declare a major your first year.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself time to get acclimated to college, to be introduced to other majors. Like I remember being online and hearing all of my line sisters having all these different majors that I had never been exposed to.
Yeah.
Wow, I wish public relations and all of these other things. And so give yourself time. And then if you do find that you don't want to do that, have the courage to say, I don't want to do it. Your parents may be upset because mine was so pissed off at me.
You mean to tell me you dropping out of pharmacy school now?
That's my mama didn't talk to me for a couple of months, but she's all right now. But she still carried there because a lot of Black families depend on what we
Yeah.
college to like carry a legacy or uplift our family, all these things. So I would probably have the courage though. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Don't waste your time doing it. Don't accumulate student loans either.
Right, right. Man, Andrea, you said so much in that one. Yeah, have the courage, right? Don't feel guilty. I think that's the thing with students. I think sometimes just the world, right? You gotta know what you want to do at all times. It's like I'm 18. I'm trying to figure out myself who I am, and you want me to pick a major. So that's the best advice. I agree. Go in undecided, experience college, hear other things. Because a lot of times if you don't see it, you don't know it's out there, right? And so that's huge. And then I know you talked a lot about, you just mentioned at the end, I would do want to call it out, finance in college. I know you talked about that earlier in loans. What would you say to that student who, hey, I just got to go to this school. I love the colors of the school, but it's going to cost me 70K per year to go to this school and I don't have a scholarship. What would you tell that student?
Don't go to that school. Student loan.
No, we laugh at it, but those things, they happen. They happen. I definitely want to call that out. Yeah.
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 When you graduate, you in real life once you graduate, and real life is bills and student loans are like anywhere. And they can be debilitating. They can be when you look up in your 30s, you still can't get this house because your debt to income ratio is so high because of student loans.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say don't go to a college that is out of your means. If you want to go to state school, go to a state school, get all the financial aid, all the scholarships, all the resources that you can because you do not want to be stuck with debt from college as you're working and you're getting a family, all this done. Don't cap out on finances.
So true. So true. I think that's one of the wisest things that we can tell a student. So let's continue down this path, right? So you went to the path less traveled, creative, right? I always tell you, just in our offline conversations, Andrea Fenise was one of the first really boutique owners. She had her own brand. I mean, photography, she still has your blog. I mean, you just do so many great things in that
Oh,
space.
thank you.
Can you tell us about when you made the decision to go to that particular path, how that turned out for you?
Yeah, I just randomly chose. I had some extra money because Nikki knows how frugal I am. I had some extra money saved, and I've always wanted to be in fashion. I wanted to go to fashion design school for college,
Okay.
but of course, going back to the my parents was like, "No." And so I opened up a boutique in an art.
Mm.
I had saw this concept from some Parisian boutiques, and I was like, "I'm gonna do that in Memphis." My dad helped me build out the store. I bought the inventory, and then it started building upon layers of just creativity in general.
Right.
Well, I started working as a fashion stylist and then a fashion designer. Um, then finding out that some of the things I needed in my business, I had to be start teaching myself, like the Adobe Creative Suite, which is like Photoshop and graphic design and then web design. It just started creating these layers of like skill sets that I needed to now what I see in hindsight to continue on this path that
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
always supposed to be on in the beginning.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so yeah, long way to get to the point is that I just randomly made a decision to commit to creatively living for a living. Uh, and that's what I do. I live creativity. I find ways to, you know, create a lifestyle based off of being a creator.
Right. And you're doing such a great, it's been what, 2 decades? I mean, what, 15 years, 16 years? Okay. Okay. And I always tell her, we see, of course, in 2025 where it's more common now, where folks are making a living from, social media or, you hear fashion. I even think, MTS, you had like a fashion merchandising degree or something of that nature. And so now it's more common, but with it, I love how you keep talking about going back to your skills. So it's like the degree was not in vain, right? Because I think, yeah, and I think a lot of times people think that like, I'm only going to get this degree and to make money, but the degree is so many things in between getting a degree that develops you as a person. Do you mind maybe talking about that you took over to the path less traveled?
Oh, yeah, so even right now, like, I work as a creative in real estate development and
Mhm.
community development and construction.
Okay. Yeah,
And
that's great.
everything that I do every single day was built off of what I learned as a young adult in college.
Yeah. Yeah.
The discipline, the communication skills, the routine, learning systems, interpersonal skills. That was
Yeah.
all what I gathered from getting a degree, going to college. I am an advocate for education.
Yeah.
And you can tell the difference in the workplace between people who, have
Mhm, mhm.
formal education versus those who don't. There's certain skill sets that you learn from going to college, certain survival skill sets that you learn in college that you need
Yeah.
practically in the workplace or in the rest of your life.
So
So
true. So true.
you can, the road less travel, everything that I'm able to navigate this road, this path
Mhm, mhm.
because
Right.
of what I had to go through in college.
Right. So true. So true. Andrea, this has been great. I'm sitting here like again, I've been knowing we went to college together, so almost what 20 something years? Yeah. The gray hair is telling my age. But us, yeah, a long time, a long time. And I'm so inspired by the work that you've done over the years and continue to do. And I guess just as we end, I feel like we need a part two as well. As we end, just say I want to really hone in on young ladies. I said the same thing to some of my male guests that I had to really hone in on young males. We live in a world where I think folks gauge their impact on social media likes and clickbaits and, how many folks are sharing my things or whatever. What would you say to that young lady who's out here trying to, make a difference and she's not getting as much support or, she's feeling like I'm by myself in this space and they probably want to give up because they don't feel the impact is out there. What would you say to that young lady?
I will say to her, because I'm kind of going through similar things even 25 years after college,
Yeah. Yeah.
is that biblically,
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
we should all aspire to be the salt and the light of the world.
man, so true.
That salt and light always resonates with me because we are here to preserve things, to maintain things, and to make things better.
Mhm,
We're often here for the light aspect of that scripture, which talks about how we are to illuminate the kingdom. So
mhm.
the Bible's been here for thousands of years.
Yeah,
Social
yeah.
media just came into existence 15, 20 years ago.
Right, right.
Even when social media leaves, because we even see the TikTok ban,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have the salt and the light of the world. And if you only impact one or two people,
Mhm.
and as a couple of young ladies on the college campus of MTSU did, that's all you need to do. It's not about the validation that we get from likes
Yeah,
and
yeah.
follow and people clapping for us online. It's the impact that we make with
Mhm.
some day to day, and that can change the world.
So true, so true. Andrea, man, we could just drop the mic right there, literally. Again, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I know just even with that last statement and everything that you said today, you will continue to impact. You've impacted so many already, myself being one of them. And so, again, keep doing the great work that you're doing. I feel like a village, it takes a village. I know you mentioned your kids earlier, and I know maybe a last question to you. What's your conversation with your kids about it? I mean, that I feel like our kids are in the same grade. What, 10th grade?
Yeah, yeah.
10th grade, and I know you have a younger, I have a Kendall with her being, 11, 12. But we're talking about education now. What's the conversation that you have with your kids just about education? Just curious.
Yeah, with the mirror,
Yeah.
so I really tell because I know what I went through with
Okay.
my mom with college.
Okay.
I tell her that it's up to her to decide what she wants to do.
Okay.
College is going to college is not going to college is out of the question. She's going to college. She
Right.
wants to go to an HBCU, which I'm very much in support
Oh,
of.
good. Okay. Caleb does too. Well, yeah.
So I just try to tell her to go undecided. She
Yeah.
doesn't have to commit to a major and to enjoy college.
So true. Yeah.
Small time of our life,
Mhm,
um,
mhm.
to really, really, really enjoy college. Jatiel is on the spectrum, and I
Yeah.
hope that he progresses to where he is able to go to college and
Mhm.
all these autism departments within college, which I think is
Yeah.
great. Uh,
Yeah.
so with her, especially because she's old enough to understand,
Yeah. Yeah.
he ain't
Right.
enough, but she just stood his mama.
Right.
With her, it's like, I want her to really go with an open mind,
Mhm,
like
mhm.
that she doesn't have to decide what she wants to do her first year,
So
but
true.
she got
And like you said, it's never too early to start the conversation. I tell parents that all the time. Sometimes parents think they got to wait till the 12th grade and then they start the college conversation. Like, well, yeah, that's really too late. If they even just see the college T-shirts, if they go to a college tour, a college basketball games, it's kind of like they're developing that love for the college space. So it's never too young, to start the conversation.
she started, college tours with her dad.
Oh,
We
good.
she
Very good.
realized she wanted to go to an
HBCU.
sh
Gotcha.
she toured MTSU, and I forgot the other school in North Carolina. She was like, "I wanna go to a HBCU."
Well, with that being said, I thank you so much for taking time to be on the podcast, y'all. Andrea, if they want to learn more about you, where could they go to find out more?
AndreaFenise.com
Okay.
website. All of the social handles are on there, but AndreaFenise.com.
Okay. And we'll make sure to post that link on this video. Thank you once again. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us. I know you enjoyed this conversation. Make sure y'all share it. Make sure you comment. Andrea's going to be watching those comments and she's going to reply. And make sure y'all just get the word out We will see you next week, same time, every Wednesday. Another great guest. Thank y'all for joining.